So if I had no other message to offer your viewers, and you let me give it to them right now, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe our lives are controlled by one force: decisions. One of the biggest challenges for people is everybody wants a better quality of life. Everybody wants life to be greater, but almost all of us get stuck at times where something stops us, something prevents us from doing something that we really are capable of doing. Whether it's turning around our body or shifting a relationship or turning around our finances or maybe just being happy and fulfilled at a different level, we get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern of just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed. Sometimes we get stuck, not so much in anything, but just some habits of doing things a certain way. And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening. And the opening can come from a conversation. It can come from meeting somebody that inspires you. It can come from an insight. It can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of us. Something snapped us and made us look at life through a different filter, in a different way. And it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says, no more, I'm going to change this, and suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way, or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make the shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve. So the core difference in people is how do you produce certainty when the world isn't giving it to you? You go out and you try in your face, if you're 100,000 in debt and nothing's working, how do you keep yourself going? The way you did it, the way I did it, the way you're doing it, we may not do it consciously, is we didn't change our potential that was there. And it wasn't even taking more action. Taking more action with a belief's not going to work, it's not going to change anything. We got results in our head that made us feel certain as if it had already happened. True or false for you? True. Right. So give me an example so people know I'm not just making this crap up.
Well, just like when I had nothing, I already knew I was driving like Ferraris and Porsches and stuff because I always wanted those cars. I already knew I was going to have them. It was inevitable. Right. That was just my inevitable outcome.
But how did you do that? Did you have a ritual? Did you think about it regularly? Was it one time you thought about it, or was it something you had an obsession towards?
First, if you don't right now feel as if you're equipped to get all you want, just remember, ability will grow to match your strong dreams. That's why the goal-setting process we've discussed is so important. The more you work on this, the more ideas you will get on how you can change, how you can grow. I am nowhere near the person I was when I met Mr. Shoaff 25 years ago. I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. There's nothing you can do about the past, but you can do a great deal about your future. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday. You can make changes in your life, absolutely startling changes, in a fairly short period of time. You can make changes you can't even conceive of now, if you give yourself a chance. Your abilities will grow. You have untapped talents and potential that you haven't even reached for yet. And as time goes on, you'll be able to reach deeper and deeper. The first thing you'll know, you'll be able to do things you never thought you could do. You'll be able to handle things you never thought you could handle.
There's part of you that either wants to create a business or you obviously already have created a business. The hardest part is taking that first step, right? There's always that line, like I was talking about earlier, that you have to take a step past. But the thing, people always say, well, you're not afraid to start a business. Why aren't you? It's terrifying, or, it scares me to do it. And my attitude has always been, if you're prepared, it's not a risk, right? Bobby Knight, who was the coach at Indiana University, used to say, everybody's got the will to win, but it's only those with the will to prepare that do win. And the same applies to business. We've all seen our friends go out there and just wing it. It's my passion. We're all passionate about something. I'm passionate about basketball. Doesn't make me an NBA player, right? It's not just about passion. It's not just about saying I'm doing it. It's not even about incorporating. It's not about the idea. It's about, are you prepared and are you willing to do the work?
If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you. That's a hypothesis, and it's not some simple hypothesis, right? Because what it basically says is, if you dare to do the most difficult thing that you can conceptualize, your life will work out better than it will if you do anything else. Well, how are you going to find out if that's true? Well, it's a Kierkegaardian leap of faith. There's no way you're going to find out whether or not that's true unless you do it. So no one can tell you either, just because it works for someone else. I mean, that's interesting and all that, but it's no proof that it'll work for you. You have to be all in this game. There is no more effective way of operating in the world than to conceptualize the highest good that you can and then strive to attain it. There's no more practical pathway to the kind of success that you could have if you actually knew what success was. The world shifts itself around your aim, because you're a creature that has an aim. You have to have an aim in order to do something. You're an aiming creature. You look at a point and you move towards it. It's built right into you. And so you have an aim. Well, let's say your aim is the highest possible aim. Well, then, so that sets up the world around you. It organizes all of your perceptions. It organizes what you see and you don't see. It organizes your emotions and your motivations. So you organize yourself around that aim, and then what happens is the day manifests itself as a set of challenges and problems, and if you solve them properly, then you stay on the pathway towards that aim, and you can concentrate on the day, and so that way you get to have your cake and eat it too, because you can point into the distance, the far distance, and you can live in the day. And it seems to me that makes every moment of the day supercharged with meaning. That's how, because if everything that you're doing every day is related to the highest possible aim that you can conceptualize, well, that's the very definition of the meaning that would sustain you in your life.
I think that the common thread, and I would imagine with all your guests, they share this in common, is that they are lifelong learners. Because anyone who, I think, learning, or especially meta-learning, learning how to learn, it's like the grandfather or the grandmother of personal growth, or high performance, or self-help, if you will. Because without learning, nothing changes. And so I think that one of the common themes is they have a high standard for things. They have a vision, and I always talk about 3 H's: head, heart, hands. That you could visualize things with your head, and set goals and outcomes and KPIs or affirmations. But if you're not acting with your hands, something is missing. And I think the second H, the heart, and having the motivation or drive, the emotion to be able to achieve those things, because we're not always logical, right? But we're biological. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. I mean, we do things. Based on our feelings. And I find that spending time with high achievers, they have a high drive. those feelings, the high level of, some people call it purpose. I know you had our buddy Simon on the show. Start with why, but asking yourself, like, why? Why do I want to remember this? Why do I want to learn this? Why do I want to achieve that goal? Because reasons reap results. They really do. Reasons reap results and a lot of rewards. And so that's why I love watching your show, because you provide not only the insights, because people want to know what to do, but then you also give them the inspiration to do it. Because a lot of people, they'll get the inspiration, but they're like, what do I do now? But then you're talking, and you just, going through your Ironman, I mean, that must have been grueling. I mean, I love people who test themselves, because I really think life, like, we really grow the most and live the most when we're playing and practicing at the edge of our limits. Because we're uncomfortable. Exactly, and I think that commonality is common with high performers or elite mental. Performers or athletes or actors or traders or educators or philanthropists, they're at that level, whether it's, and that another one, Jane Goodall, like here, another he's here in the UK, whether it's genius here, genius here in their heart. I love people who are just disrupting things. They're not playing necessarily by the traditional rules. Usually, I read this book called The Structure of Scientific Revolution that says all the big evolutions and advancements and innovations come from people outside the industry. Because it usually takes somebody, whether it's fashion or technology or automotive, the car industry, it takes someone like an Elon to look from the outside to look in, saying, hey, if we were to start completely over right now, zero-based thinking, what would cars look like today? So it's not additive, it's just something that's fresh.